When two people love each other, they often express their love physically. That physical act of love will, generally speaking, render an offspring, and that offspring is going to have characteristics of both parents. Now, Hunter, what are you talking about? Well, it really doesn't sound like I'm getting to a gun review, but I am, because we're talking about the Dan Wesson DWX, which is essentially CZ75 ergonomics, 1911 top end, 1911 trigger. Now, I have ensured the chamber is empty, so we know this pistol is safe to talk about. Hopefully you saw all the video, read the article that we did where Chad and I went to Gunsight for the CZ Colt Media Day when the DWX was kind of reintroduced. And we spent a lot of time with the gun. Everything was wonderful, but I don't feel like I had enough time individually to shoot some groups and really get to know the pistol, so I reached out to my friends at CZ and requested a test sample, and they were really good enough to oblige me, and here it sits before you. Now, I'm a little behind the 8-ball on the reviews. I took a lot of time with this gun. We spent a lot of time with it. Primarily, I wanted to see if this test sample reflected the quality of the test samples that they had at Gunsight, in which, in short, it did.
This is a very nice gun.
Well, first thing we're going to get into real quick, like a rabbit, is specifications. MSRP, $2,099. Comes with 2 magazines, holds 19 rounds of 9mm. This pistol is all steel. Overall length is 8.5 inches. The barrel length is 4.95 inches. The height is 5.85 inches. The width is 1.5 inches. And the unloaded weight is 45 ounces. We're going to start here at the mainspring housing. It is checkered at 25 lines per inch, but you will note there is no grip safety. You have a Rowell style skeletonized speed hammer. The rear sight is molded after the CZ Shadow 2, and it is fully adjustable for windage and elevation, and the rear face of that is serrated to keep the glare down. The front sight is a 1911 dovetail, and it is fiber optic. In between the sights, there is a serrated rib also to keep the glare off the top of the pistol while you're trying to acquire and maintain correct sight alignment, sight picture. Locking the slide to the rear here, I'm going to show you that it is a bushingless barrel system. Coming out here to the dust cover, it is a machined-in 1913 Picatinny rail. Then you have a squared-off trigger guard, and we're going to talk about the trigger. The trigger is actually really nice. It's got just a little bit of take-up, breaks really clean at 4 pounds with just a hint of over travel. So really, really nice trigger, reminiscent of the 1911 Dan Wessons that you would expect. And then also the front strap here, 25 lines per inch. Then you have just the slightest bit of a beveled magazine well coming down here. The controls are the same manual of arms that you would expect off of 1911. You do have an ambidextrous thumb safety that's serrated. You have a serrated slide release, and then the magazine release is reversible. Probably got about 500 rounds downrange of this pistol. There was 0 malfunctions whatsoever, no stoppages, no misfeeds, nothing like that. The gun run 100% brand new out the box. We did take it out to 25 yards and shoot some groups with it. It was averaging about 1.5 inches, y'all. And Chad was here. He was actually helping me shoot groups. He witnessed it. 1.5 inches to 25 yards is, well, it's actually pretty phenomenal in my opinion. Especially for me shooting, because my eyes are pretty near 50 years old, and I got iron sight, so we're going to go with that. Magazine compatibility is something that I also would like to touch on. So it does come with 2 magazines. However, CZ, when they engineered this, it will run with the P10F, a P09 magazine. So if 2's not enough, because we know 2's never enough, then spare magazines for this handgun are going to be readily available and, in the grand scheme of things, inexpensive. I was really, really enamored with the gun at Gunsight, but once I got one in my hands and I was able to really spend some time with it and shoot it, as well as having a lot of other my friends shoot it. And some people kind of comment on these red stocks. They're like, oh, it's a little loud. I don't love it. Any CZ75 set of stocks are compatible. So if you don't love these, you got a lot of options to swap them out. But in my opinion, they're aluminum and they're aggressively checkered. I think they work great for the gun, and they match that red trigger, flat trigger. Some people didn't like that as well, thought it was a little flashy. But for me, it kind of looks a little bit like a race gun. It's a little understated, but well done. Oh, Chad reminded me. And it does ship in a pretty nice little handy range bag. Dan Wesson DWX, not bad. Okay, y'all, we got it all detail stripped apart and taking some look at it here. Let's get my old man specs on. One of the cool features that I literally just learned is the serial number part just comes out of the receiver. I mean, it literally just, once you kind of get all the pins out, It pulls right out, and that is wonderful because that allows you really easy access to the sear and disconnect, the trigger, all the little small internal pieces that are really, really hard to kind of put back together with 1911. Look at there, it just comes right out. Eject. This damn thing's kind of dirty. Anyway, so that's really cool for maintenance and detail stripping. I dig that. It does have a traditional 1911 style sear disconnect. The plunger and plunger spring are kind of threaded together. There's only a plunger on one side, so you still, when you take that thumb safety off, you still got to keep a tight hold on it, but it's a little different than what you're seeing. I'm looking here at the top of the slide. I will mention that there is no type of firing pin safety in this pistol, as well as it does have an external extractor, which again will differ from your traditional 1911. Hammer hooks look all good to go. Mainspring housing looks weird, but with no grip safety, it's all kind of integrated together. There are, looking at this, in my opinion, there are fewer wear parts on this than there would be in 1911. You don't have the radial locking lugs on the barrel that mesh into the slide. You have just essentially a singular lug. It is no link and no radial locking lugs. There's a lot of abutment here, a lot of area to take that force against this large, thick slide. So you're going to have a lot of resistance there. You're going to have a lot of wear area there. So that's something that's probably going to be able to be engaged. I'm going to say you can fit it to have more clearance against that rear abutment single lug than you would if you had 3 radial locking lugs that had to mesh in together to the top of the slide, if that makes any sense. Or I might be just crazy, which the latter is very probable. But anyway, that's everything. So to reiterate, it's an accurate pistol, shot wonderful. I feel like it made me a better shooter, and I need all the help I can get. I think this is going to be a very strong contender for any of the 2011 market. In my opinion, it's well worth what they're asking for. And the very last thing I want to address is no, it is not milled for a red dot. And I think that's wonderful. The reason being is 10 years ago, everybody could shoot a gun just fine with front sight, rear sight. And now all of a sudden, if it doesn't have the accommodations for a red dot, people just lose their mind. Do y'all know how to, you don't know how to work sights no more? I mean, come on, I get it. Red dots are all, you know, high speed, low drag, but not really. So I think that fiber optic front sight and that rear sight, to me, that's a tried and true proven methodology over some damn red dot. If that's what you want, you got room to have the slide machined. If you've got to have a red dot on it, you can certainly have it happen. But to me, I don't see that that's a big of a deal. If I was going to change anything at all on this pistol at all, I would have loved to seen it had a threaded barrel. But really, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to wrap this up. I kind of droned on long enough. But anyway, that's all I got. If you like the video, please subscribe. Stick around. If you got any questions or comments, we got the comment section below. Let me know what you think, good, bad, right, or wrong. As always, there's going to be an article on rangehot.com. It's going to have a lot more of the technical specifications and all the stuff that I went over. So if you felt like I glossed over something a little too quick, jump over to rangehot.com, check that out, and let me know what you think. So anyway, that's it. I want y'all to take care of yourselves and each other. Look forward to seeing you at the range.
This is me smiling. That's really nice. That's really nice.